What's up guys, my name is Aaron and today I'm going to be doing a production breakdown of Cool by Dua Lipa. Now if any of you have seen my previous videos of Don't Start Now and Physical, you'll know that I was able to do it breaking it down by stems because I had been able to find those on a website that I visit every now and then. Couldn't find it for Cool. If you haven't seen those videos though, I'm going to put the suggestion up on the top right hand corner up there. You'll be able to see, I'll put a card for either Physical or Don't Start Now, probably Physical. I enjoyed breaking that one down quite a bit. So with this, I'm going to be able to just try and tell you what I hear based on what the audio has given me. I can't really dive into stems because I don't have access to those. But without further ado, I'm just going to go ahead and start. Going to go through instrumental production, vocal production, see where it goes, just see what I'm able to pick up and where it takes me. Let's begin.
Guess I never had a love like this.
Immediately, I love the introduction with just that kind of synth, that retro synth. I really enjoy that. Very simple, very full. Let's continue.
Hit me harder than I ever expected. We've been up all goddamn night, all night, all night. Keep it going till we see the sunlight.
Cool. So Dua Lipa's reverb on her vocal is very simple. It kind of sounds like a halt. It doesn't exactly sound like a plate. It's quite a bit darker than what we would normally expect from like a bright the vocal itself is bright, but the reverb is a little bit more dark, a little bit more a little bit warmer, and then you'll hear in between parts in the verse that there's a tucked in vocal that is more washed out, more reverbed. You'll hear those.
Guess I never had a love like this. Hit me harder than I ever expected. We've been up all goddamn night, all night, all night.
So that all night is just the only instance where you have that little part in between. All of this is just one vocal, just a single vocal line that's been very heavily supported, very well produced by all the reverbs that we get here.
Keep it going till we see the sunlight and the color of the sky.
Now we're getting into the pre-chorus right here.
Light and the color of the sky looking nice and nice. You know, you know, you know. Baby, I can see us in the real life. You know, you got.
Cool. I love the chorus, but before we get there, so a couple of things. Number one, the vocal is no longer single. We've got a layer underneath it. We've got that octave layer underneath that single vocal. And then on top of that, some production changes, or some production additions, I should say. We've got a nice little bass underneath. I would think it's like a Reese bass that I'm hearing. And snaps. Every fourth snap, you also get a very nice washed out reverb emphasis on there. So listen right here.
And the color of the sky looking nice and nice. You know, you know, you know. Baby, I can see us in the real life. You know, you got.
I love that intensifying, building up right there. We're getting the synths are dropping out, and the bass line itself is also dropping out to make room for what is going to be the chorus. And then also the lower vocal drops out towards the end as well.
I can see us in the real life. You know, you got.
Right there, it drops out. You know.
If you know, you got. Got me losing all my cool, 'cause I'm burning.
The way the chorus hits, it just hits. I'm so into this. Here, let's listen. Let's just go right into it.
If you know, you got. Got me losing all my cool, 'cause I'm burning up on you. In control of what I do, and I love the way you move. We get the heat and the thrill, 'cause you're more than any pill. Never running out of juice when it's only me and you. You got
that part is so cool. The way that it's produced is so cool. Okay, so we drop out of the intro synth drops out entirely, right? So that part is gone. That part we're done. So once we get into the chorus, we're left with the drums, the bass, and the vocals. Now, for mixing engineers, this is basically a lot of what we focus on when we're mixing a song. So now it's just, this is what is driving the chorus right here. Let's just go into it right here.
Nice and nice, you know, you know, you know. I can see us in the real life. You know, you got me losing all my cool, 'cause I'm burning up on you.
Cool. So I'm suspecting, based on everything else that we've seen from Kirkpatrick, is that all of these are like contact basses. You can hear the texture of the performance that's being played by these samples. Boom, 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 boom. And it's just going with the drums, the kick. It's all unified. Everything is quite together.
'Cause I'm burning up on you.
The kick basically will follow, I mean, not the kick, the bass line, the bass guitar is following the drums. Wherever the kick hits and the snare hits, that's where it's getting its cues from to perform it. There's also a little bass drop that I really like that's going on here. It happens on the snare of every, I guess, 4 bars. On the first snare of every 4 bars. Okay, so it's actually every 2 bars, but there's like an 808 that drops, that slides and just descends after it hits that snare. That, and also we're still dealing with a single vocal. It doesn't sound like there's any real vocal width that's happening on this chorus. So it's actually quite a simple, the production on this. It's just very big, wide, and very well produced, but the elements, the number of elements is very minimal here.
'Cause I'm burning up on you, in control of what I do, and I love the way you move. We get the heat and the thrill.
I love that little vocal, I guess, sort of ad-lib that's going on in the background, by being performed totally by somebody else. And then also we have a couple of like percussive elements that are happening with the drums. We got some shakers that are going on in between the ears, and then we also have a white noise sweep that leads into the snare that you'll be able to hear
The way you move.
right there.
What I do, and I love the way you move. We get the heat and the thrill, 'cause you're more than any pill. Never running out of juice when it's.
And then also that little bass fill that's there, that's quite different from the bass guitar. It's a nice lead up.
'Cause you're more than any pill. Never running out of juice.
Right there, that's tucked in, just comparatively to the bass guitar. Boo doo 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 doo. Here, let me play it for you one more time. Right there. So yeah, there's quite a bit to look at in terms of these instruments, but in terms of the number of instruments themselves, there's not that much. We've just got drums, bass, and guitar. No, drums, bass, and vocals. No pads really, no guitars, no nothing else really. But let's go into the post-chorus right here.
Hey, you got me losing all my cool. I guess you're ready for the song.
I love that. That post-chorus is incredible. You got claps going all around. The pads just make it wider.
When it's only me and you got me losing all my cool.
Yeah, so you've got the reintroduction of that intro synth right there. There's a little hit that gets reverbed out right there.
I guess you're ready for the song.
That little hoo, 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 that's just going on right there. Second verse, let's go into it.
I like us better when we're intertwined. The way you touch me got me losing my senses. Put your love with your lips on mine, all night on mine. You got me working up an appetite.
Cool, so there are a couple of loose things that are going on in the second verse. Number one, we do have a bass line now. And we've got the drums in as well.
The way you touch me got me losing my senses.
Yeah, and also the claps that are coming in from the chorus, from the post-chorus actually. It's like going and bouncing between the left and right ears.
Got me losing my senses. Put your love with your lips on mine, all night on mine. You got me working up an appetite.
And then there's an arpeggiation synth that's going on that's really slightly tucked in the background, but it just adds that little sparkle to it.
And the color of the sky looking nice and nice. You know. Baby, I can see us in the real life. You got.
Yeah, so again, just the pre-chorus sounds pretty much similar to what we got in the first verse. It's just a little bit wider because we do also have the kicks going on.
Nice, you know. Baby, I can see us in the real life. You know.
And then there's also more vocal production here as well. Is there? Sorry, let me listen back.
Nice, you know.
Yeah, there is. So the first pre-chorus only had the lower octave. Now we're getting harmonies here.
Nice, you know. Tight. And the color of the sky looking nice and nice. You know. Baby, I can see us in the real life. You know. You got.
Yeah, so now this one sounds a little bit more atmospheric. I'm not sure if I'm picking up an extra pad that's being tucked in. I may or may not be right about that. But let's go listen into the second chorus. There are going to be a couple of changes that we get from the first one.
Got me losing all my cool, 'cause I'm burning up for you. In control of what I do, and I love the way you move.
The way the guitar sounds like it goes in between being a pad and being a guitar is impressive to me. You'll catch it on your left ear.
Got me losing all my cool, 'cause I'm burning up for you. In control of what I do, and I love the way you move. We get the heat and the thrill, 'cause you're more than any pill. Never running out of juice when it's only me.
Cool. So we also had that little synth just reappearing. It sounded like the texture of the intro synth, but doesn't play exactly the same melody. It just reappears there for a moment. It could either be that or the guitar. I'm not entirely sure, but it's very staccato. Just a nice little piece to indicate we're going into the post-chorus right there.
But it's only me and you. You got me losing all my cool. I guess you're ready for the song. You got me losing all my cool.
Cool, so we're just repeating the pre-chorus this time around, just giving it one more run as opposed to once in the first chorus.
I guess you're ready for the song. Skin tight, I'll show you heaven.
So this this bridge is pretty much very little drums. We're gonna hear a different type of snap that's going on, a very loose one and a very low one as well. We'll just keep going. Let's keep listening.
There's nothing better. I'll give it to you all night. You know. Got me losing on my cool. Yeah, you like the way I move.
So it sounded like there was a vocoder at the beginning of this bridge.
Skin tight, I'll show you heaven. There's nothing better.
Yeah, it's very, very slight, very, very, very soft.
All night. got me losing on my cool. Yeah, you like the way I move, in control of what I do. Yeah, my love makes you brand new.
It sounds like there's an intertwining of like a very ambient pad that's introducing itself into that final part.
Yeah, you like the way I move, in control of what I do.
And then it blends with a vocal that finally goes into the last chorus.
Yeah, my love makes you brand new.
Unless that was the vocal itself being reverbed out, but it sounds more like an ambient pad to me.
Oh, got me losing on my cool. Yeah, you like the way I move, in control of what I do. Yeah, my love makes you brand new. Got me losing on my cool, 'cause I'm brand.
Yeah, so going back into it here, one more time. I want to catch that, and then we'll get into the final chorus.
Cool. Yeah, you like the way I move, in control.
Oh yeah, there's that little that intro synth is just popping out for a little bit right there.
I move, in control of what I do. Yeah, my love makes you brand new. Got me losing on my cool.
Cutting out a little bit of the low end once again, going into the final chorus. That's how it builds even more tension. And we're going into the final chorus. A couple of things. We got some energy. Dua Lipa is saying "woo" like going into it.
Losing on my cool, 'cause I'm brand.
Woo right there.
Got me losing on my cool, 'cause I'm burning up on you, in control of what I do, and I love the way you move. Got a hate in the deal.
We got some ad-libs going on as well, just rhythmic ad-libs that are I guess melodic at the same time. And then also this last chorus, on top of the guitar that was added onto the second one, we've got pads going on as well.
And I love the way you move. Got a hate in the deal, 'cause you're more than any pill. Never running out of juice, when it's only me and you. When it's only me and you. I guess we're ready for the summer. You got me losing on my cool. I guess we're ready for the summer. You got me losing on my cool.
Cool. The ending of that basically is just her having a couple of vocals in there, a couple of ad-libs as well. And it's writing out the instrumental with everything, incorporating everything from the verses into the chorus, throwing it all into the final one. We have a lot of pads going on. We have that guitar as well. We have that same drum pattern. I really enjoyed this song. It's one of the ones that kind of stood out to me because it's not 4 on the floor. So many of these songs are pretty much 4 on the floor. Not that that's a bad thing. It just gets a little bit repetitive in a way. So this song breaks up the monotony in that sense, comparative to the rest of the album. And also, I just love the groove of the bass line. I love the drums. Her performance is really solid on this, and so overall, just this to me is one of my favorite pop songs of the year. If you'd watch my Rina Sawayama video, I said the same thing about that, but they're incredible both for different reasons. With that being said, I think I'm about finished with this one. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed watching this video, and I will talk to you guys in another one. See ya.